Thanks for stopping by. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a comment, and please think about subscribing. And hey, remember, watching just 30 seconds of an ad helps us creators more than you know. You're awesome. Have an amazing day. Let's begin.
My dad kicked me out of his rental so his sugar baby and her kids could move in. Hey Reddit. Sorry if this is a little all over the place. I'm still trying to process what happened, and I really need to get this off my chest to someone, so here goes. A while back, I was drowning. I'd just finished my degree, I was working an entry-level job at a nonprofit, and the rent in my city was eating me alive. I confided in my dad over dinner at his place. Takeout pizza, beer, and TV reruns like old times. I'm seriously thinking about moving back in with roommates. I just can't keep doing this. Dad leans back in his chair. Why don't you move into the Maple Street place? I blinked. The rental? He shrugged like it was nothing. It's just sitting there. I've been meaning to fix it up, but I've got too much on my plate. You could live there cheap while doing the repairs. Like, half rent or something, just to help me cover yearly taxes. I was speechless. Seriously? Dad, of course. You're my daughter. Why would I let you struggle? The very next day I toured the house. Saying it was rough was an understatement. Think 70s brown shag carpet, yellowed walls, and a lingering smell of mildew from a long-forgotten fridge leak. The backyard was overgrown and the kitchen cabinets had warped from years of moisture damage. If I were to be honest, the place made my skin crawl. But I didn't care. It had bones. I could see the future there. Over the next year, I poured everything into that house. Weekends out with friends disappeared into Home Depot runs. I spent evenings tearing out moldy baseboards and teaching myself to grout tile from YouTube. My hands were always covered in paint or cuts. My bank account was constantly low, but I was making progress, and I was damn proud. I scraped together $2,000 to install butcher block countertops, which I sanded and sealed myself. I found a vintage chandelier at a thrift shop and rewired it with the help of an electrician. I hung it over the dining area. I learned how to change out old outlets, patch drywall, and lay laminate flooring. I didn't just live there. I made it home. When it was finally finished, I invited Dad over. He stepped in and stopped in the entryway, his eyes wide. Dad, you did all this? I nodded. Every inch. I told you I'd make it livable. He walked slowly from room to room, his face softening with each step. Dad, you've made it beautiful, sweetheart. I nearly cried. Everything was perfect. Then came Candy. I first met Candy at my dad's birthday dinner. She showed up late in a skin-tight hot pink dress and heels too tall for the icy sidewalk. She was stunning, I'll give her that, long dark hair, flawless makeup, big eyes. And she was also my age. Literally 2 years younger than me. She sauntered in like she owned the place and plopped down in Dad's lap with a giggle. Candy, sorry I'm late babe. The twins threw a tantrum, and one of them peed on the dog. I blinked. Dad laughed. It's okay. We just got started. That's how I found out my father was dating, and I use that term loosely, someone closer to being my classmate than my peer. At first, I tried to be understanding. Grief does weird things to people. Mom passed away 5 years ago, and Dad had been a shell ever since. If Candy made him happy, it wasn't my place to judge. But Candy didn't warm up to me. Whenever I visited, she looked me up and down like she was trying to guess how much I made. She always made backhanded compliments like, "You've got such a practical style," or "You don't wear much makeup, huh?" That's so natural of you. Dad, of course, was blind to it. He was smitten. Soon, he got a second job to keep up with her growing wants. He started dyeing his gray hair, whitening his teeth, he even got a gym membership. I started hearing things like, Candy says the twins really see me as a father figure. I might take out a loan. Candy's car is falling apart. Or my personal favorite. Can you spot me for the electric bill this month? Candy lost hours at her job and is falling behind. The kids need new clothes. I wanted to tell him that maybe he needed to cut all the frivolous spending. That Candy may be using him. But every time I saw how happy he was, I couldn't bring myself to voice my concerns. I was doing very well at my job. I had just received my yearly bonus and could afford to help him out from time to time. All the while, I kept fixing up the house and building a nice little nest egg for myself. I told myself he's an adult and a smart man. He will wise up soon enough. Then there was the party that changed everything. My promotion came unexpectedly. I'd been burning myself out for years, and when I finally got that salary bump, I felt like I could breathe again. So I threw a little celebration at the house. Just a dozen people. Friends, co-workers, and some neighbors. I even invited Dad and Candy to be polite. The night was great. Everyone was getting along. I received dozens of congratulations. There was plenty of laughter and great conversations. The vibe was perfect for the occasion. The party was in full swing when my dad and Candy arrived. I knew immediately because the mood shifted like it always does when she shows up. Candy waltzes in wearing a leopard print bodysuit. She smelled like cheap white wine and baby lotion. She barely greeted anyone and immediately began touring the house. My father filed behind her like a little puppy. I excused myself from a conversation and went to greet them. I found them in the kitchen. Candy was running her hands along the quartz countertops. Candy, wow. This is really nice. Me, thanks. Took a lot of late nights. Candy eyed the sink. Is that a farmhouse style? Those are expensive. Me, I installed it myself. A Craigslist find. Candy, you really made this place feel upscale. Her tone was strange. Flat. Calculating. She didn't smile. Me, yeah, sometimes it's the little touches. I eyed her suspiciously. She left the kitchen and made her way to the back of the house to the bedrooms. She opened every door, peering in and nodding before going to the next. I gave my dad an annoyed look. Did this woman have no manners? He shrugged his shoulders sheepishly. I quickly made my way to her before she could open my bedroom door. Me. My bedroom is off limits. The party is that way, Candy. I pointed to the living room and gave her a stern look. She lifted her hands in faux surrender. I walked her back to the other guests. Candy. Where are all of the bathrooms? Me. Each bedroom is en suite. There's a half bath for guests by the kitchen. Candy, really? I watched as her eyes lit up. She walks directly over to my dad, who is talking with one of my neighbors that he's friendly with. Later that night, I see the two of them off to the side having a conversation. I couldn't hear what they said, but his shoulders tensed and his eyes flicked toward me. Something was wrong, but I figured I would worry about it later. Tonight was my night. No Candy drama allowed. About 2 weeks later, I stopped by my dad's place to drop off birthday gifts for the twins. The house smelled like burnt popcorn and s'mores. I could hear the twins yelling and thudding from outside. Candy opened the door. Candy, oh, look who decided to grace us with her presence. I handed over the gift bags and started to leave when I heard. Dad, hey, hang on kiddo. Come in, I need to talk to you about something. Reluctantly, I agreed. I steeled myself for another loan request. We sat at the kitchen table. My dad looked stiff and extremely uncomfortable. His eyes didn't meet mine. Dad, we've been talking. Candy and I. About the house. I look over to Candy, who is now smiling sweetly. Candy, we were thinking, since you've done so well for yourself, maybe it's time for you to upgrade. You know, move into a nicer place? Me, what? Dad, the kids need stability. Candy needs space. That house is perfect for them. I sat frozen. Me, you're kicking me out? After everything I did? She shrugged. Candy, it's not personal. You're a big girl now. You can afford to live somewhere else. I turned to my dad. Me, Dad, you told me I could stay. You told me I made that place mine. He sighed. I didn't think this would be a big deal. Why wouldn't it? You just blindsided me. When were you expecting me to leave? My dad opened his mouth to respond, but Candy cut him off. As soon as possible. My lease is up and I've been looking for a luxe place that would fit my style. Your place will do nicely. I deserve to have the best. Me, you deserve what you work for. I'm not going anywhere. I have rights. You're just going to kick me out with no place to go. After all I've done. Candy, don't be dramatic and selfish. You have plenty of money. My finances are none of your concern and also not the point. I'm leaving. I got up quickly, my chair falling to the floor. I felt tears sting my eyes. My dad tried to call me back but I ignored him. I looked one last time at Candy. She had a triumphant smirk on her face. I left shaking. I didn't even cry until I got home. 2 weeks later, I hadn't heard from my dad or Candy, and I was glad for it. I thought maybe my dad had come to his senses and realized how unfair it was. Turns out that was wishful thinking. I came home from work. The weather was bad. It was raining hard and it was cold out. The downpour so heavy that it soaked you in seconds. I pulled up to my house, and my mouth fell open in shock. All my belongings were on the lawn. I parked and went over to the piles. Soggy clothes, waterlogged books and pictures, my kitchenware shattered on the pavement. My bed frame was broken, my mattress soaked. All of my things were completely ruined. A legal-looking eviction notice was taped to the door. Dated 3 days prior. He hadn't even called me. I tried my key. He'd changed the locks. I stood in the rain, clutching my purse and sobbing. Neighbors peeked through curtains but didn't come out. I felt humiliated, betrayed and unmoored. I called my dad. He didn't answer. I called again. He finally picked up on the third try. Me, you threw me out? Dad, I told you we needed the space. You weren't listening. Me, you're unbelievable. You didn't even warn me. Dad, Candy's kids need a home. You'll be fine. It's not. I started but my dad cut me off. I don't have time for this. I did what needed to be done. You're a big girl. I'm tired of the whining. Figure it out. He hung up. I saw red. I didn't bother collecting any of my things. I have no clue how long they had been in the rain. It all looked like a lost cause. I got back in my car and drove to a nearby hotel. That night, I texted my friend Owen, who works in construction. I explained everything and that I needed his help with something. He agreed immediately. He showed up the next day at my place with a crew and a toolkit. I called off of work and told them I had an emergency come up. I broke a basement window, climbed in, and let them in through the back. The house was empty. Candy and the kids hadn't moved in yet. Perfect. We got to work. We removed every custom fixture. I took the light fittings, the faucets, the shelving I'd mounted. I ripped out the butcher block countertops. We took the ceiling fan, the vintage chandelier, and used a sledgehammer to break up the tiles I'd carefully laid. We patched the damage just enough to stay legal but made sure the house was a skeleton. It looked just like it had 2 years ago minus the shag carpet. It was bare, dingy, and unlivable. When we were done, I left a note on the counter. It said, "You wanted the house. Here it is. Good luck. Call me petty. I do not care." It wasn't really ever about the house. I made more than enough money to move out. It was the principle. My father chose this woman who wouldn't even commit to calling him her boyfriend over me. They unceremoniously kicked me to the curb like I was nothing. They destroyed my property, a lot of which was irreplaceable. They were not going to get away with that. I deserved common courtesy and respect, and their blatant greed over my hard work was not going to fly. My phone rang at 8:42 p.m. I knew before I even looked that it was my father. My stomach twisted. I hesitated, but I picked up. I knew exactly what this was about. "You think you can just screw over your own family like that?" he barked without even a hello. I blinked, caught off guard by how fast he came out swinging. "Excuse me?" In the background, I could hear Candy's voice screeching, "Tell her we're getting a lawyer. She can't destroy our home like that." Dad's voice boomed over hers. "You're lucky we even let you have that place to begin with. You destroyed my property." "Wrong. Your property is in the condition you gave it to me in. I simply took my property out of your property. I have all of the receipts for my purchases and renovations. You can't expect anyone, let alone Candy with her small children, to live in that place now. There's no faucets. You even took the doorknobs. And what about the rent? You still owe me for the rest of the year. $3,000. I need that for the taxes. Honestly, I don't care where she lives. And it's laughable to actually expect me to keep helping you with rent. Get it from Candy. You're not getting a cent more from me. I don't owe you anything. I didn't break any lease. We didn't have one." There was a beat of silence. Then Candy's voice snapped again in the background. "She's bluffing. She wouldn't cut off her own father. Tell her she's gonna get sued into the dirt." "You're so damn ungrateful," he snapped eventually, his voice now pure venom. "You think you're better than everyone. Always acting like you're some victim. You think I haven't seen the way you look down on our relationship. You've grown into a bitter and jealous woman. Your mother would be ashamed at how you're treating others. This is why you have no partner, and now why you don't have a real family anymore." His words were like a physical slap. "Glad we agree," I said. "Thanks for confirming it." He let out a bitter laugh, then snapped, "You're just a selfish brat. Enjoy being alone forever." Then he hung up. I stared at the phone for a moment, heart thudding, fingers shaking from fury. But there was a strange kind of relief there as well. That line, "enjoy being alone forever," would have cut the old me deeply. But now? It sounded a lot like freedom. I haven't needed my father for a long while. It's funny to think that he's the one who taught me to be independent and not to take crap from anyone. I would have never dreamed I would use what I learned on him. Now, I live in a smaller, more expensive apartment. But it's mine. Every piece of it. And no one can kick me out again. The construction I salvaged from the home will remain in storage for the time being. I'm thinking of selling most of it. Dad and Candy tried to threaten me with police. I laughed and told them we could talk about the illegal eviction and property destruction if they wanted. Haven't heard a word since. And I don't think I want to. Update, months later. It's been 5 months since I walked away and left that gutted house behind. Since then, I've been rebuilding, not just my living situation, my peace, my sense of self. Journaling has helped. So has setting boundaries. So has silence and tranquility. Then I got the call. I had never blocked his number. I didn't answer, of course. It went to voicemail. My father's voice crackled through the speaker like a ghost I wasn't ready to hear. "Hey sweetheart, it's me. I know we haven't talked in a while, but I really need to talk to you. Please call me back. It's important." I didn't answer back. Not right away. But then the text started. "Candy left me. Took the kids and the car. I'm drowning here. I was stupid. I see that now. Please don't ignore me. You're all I have left." Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet him at a diner. Neutral ground. Public. Safe. I chose a weekday afternoon when it'd be quiet. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. His clothes were wrinkled, his beard unkempt, and the bags under his eyes were almost purple. "Dad, you look good." I said nothing. Just took a sip of coffee and waited. He sighed. "Candy left 2 months ago. Said she was tired of my mood swings, tired of being broke. Said she was going back to her ex. She took everything. Her kids weren't even mine, and I still miss them." I stayed quiet. Dad continued, "She maxed out my cards. Took out payday loans in my name, even opened a store credit card at some boutique and never paid it off. I'm $60,000 in debt. I'm filing for bankruptcy next week." He looked at me with red-rimmed eyes. I was a fool, sweetheart. After your mother died, I didn't know who I was. Candy made me feel like someone again. I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was building a new family. Me, and you threw your real family out in the rain to do it. His face fell. Dad, I know. I know I failed you. But I'm asking you now, as your father, please, I need help. Just something small. Alone. A place to stay. You're all I have left. I took a long breath. I looked him in the eyes, the same ones that used to glow with pride when I won spelling bees, the same ones that watched me install a light fixture and told me I was handier than most guys. But I didn't see a father anymore. I saw a man who let himself be emptied out by a woman who saw him as a wallet. A man who betrayed his daughter's trust for some warped fantasy. And now that it had all crumbled, he wanted the daughter he discarded to clean up the mess. Me, you're not all I have left. I have friends. I don't want to be your safety net anymore. He blinked, stunned. He opened his mouth, but I held up my hand. Me, you made your choices. I rebuilt that house with my own hands. You wanted to reap the benefit of my hard work. You threw me out for someone who ghosted the moment it got hard. That's not grief, Dad. That's cowardice. He started crying. I just missed your mother. I stood up, dropped cash for the coffee, and looked at him one last time. Me, I know. I wish you the best. I really do. You're my father, and I love you, but I'm not ready to have you in my life again. I walked away, leaving him crying at the table. I blocked his number. I gave myself a long, slow exhale. And for the first time in a long while, I felt free. Not angry. Not hurt. Just free. He can sit in the mess he made. I'm not saving anyone who was able to turn off their affection for me so easily.